Hey everyone, it's me, Stagger. I'm actually not finished translating this thing, but I'm very, I know it well enough now to make a guide. And oh boy, there is a ton of information in this book. Now, you can see that there's a whole bunch of tabs here. In fact, you don't need to go all crazy like I did, which was to have like different individual post-its for and footnotes for everything. Honestly, you could just do this with just 2 bookmarks and a pad of sticky notes. But if you want to go the extra mile, by all means, I mean, this has so much information. A lot more than I can really handle. But anyway, we're not here to explain, you know, my frustrations with the book. In fact, actually, no, there's no frustrations with the book. We're here to talk about you know, how to navigate through this. If you're the first buy of the book, you may notice that there's this little blue piece of slip. This is actually the what was it? The receipt for the book. And yeah, that's all that this thing literally is. 22,000 yen. So they paid $22 for this, but I paid 30 something for it. But that doesn't matter. I'm here to teach you how to guide through this book. So first things first, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the table of contents here, which is absolutely terrible. I'm just going to go ahead and flat out say that. So basically, like for example here, let's go ahead and begin with how the way to race a story, and that it does give you like a little bit of information on how to how the guide tells you how your story works, and also each character story, which quite honestly you don't really need since it's so close to the beginning of the book, and every single character's story is only 2 pages long. Now the maps may be a little bit more helpful, but it only tells you like basically where the place begins. So like for the Highlands it's page 50, Sunlands is 59, etc, etc, etc. So I mean, I guess that's, to be fair, that's why I have the tabs to begin with. But something that irritates me is that after maps, it just goes to data, and it doesn't necessarily have all the information that you need. Like, it doesn't give you, doesn't tell you like the page for Primrose's Bewildering Grace or Alphin's medicine concoctions. So that's why I'm here. While I won't be really going over which page number goes where, which I guess that would be part of the reason for the book, but since there is a language barrier between us, between actually able to using the book and the language that we speak and read, that's what I'm here for. That's exactly what this guide is all about. So let's go ahead and begin with the stories. Actually no, before that I want to put a little bit of tangent. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here. Did anyone else think that Tressa was like 16 or something? Well, according to this, if the light would go away, she is actually 18. I honestly had no idea that she was that young. In fact, a lot of the characters in this game are actually a lot older than I thought they would be. Cyrus is 30, Ophelia is 20, Han is 26, Therion is 22, Alphin's 21, Primrose is 23, and Ulbrich is actually the oldest, being at 35. I don't know, it just kind of caught me off guard a bit. Anyway, so this side is supposed to be telling you a little bit of information on some stuff here. There is, on occasions, you will encounter extra guides. Now, this doesn't necessarily give you any major information on stuff, but essentially, in this case, actually, I don't know what this is because it's the first time I've seen this, actually, but I'm assuming it has to deal with chapters here. So basically, every single boss, or rather, every single enemy will actually change and differ depending on what, on how many chapters you have completed. So, for an example, if this is your first chapter, all the enemies are going to be weak, but the more you get done in the game, the stronger the enemies become, even if it is the same enemy that you met before. The same thing goes with bosses too. If you have battled a certain boss, or no, like in one playthrough you battled a boss first, and then in a second playthrough you battle that same boss last, they're going to be even stronger. So those are going to be some things that you gotta consider when you're playing through the game. In case you're like one of those moments where like, that didn't happen earlier. Well, that's because you tried to battle this earlier than you did on your second playthrough. So anyway, it gives you a little more information about how path actions work and what their uses are and all that jazz. Rogue actions can prevent you from doing that, so you have to pay a fee to boot and blah blah blah. This is all explained during the trailers and even inside the game. So this is all the information that you would get from going to your pause menu, then going to tutorial. It just goes a little bit more in detail in a nutshell. And then here we have some information about status ailments. I will be going over status ailments a bit, but this is basically all the negative status ailments on the right and all the positive status ailments on the left. I'm not going to go through all of this because it's not necessarily too important to really figure out, because they're all self-explanatory during when you see them. So there's that. And here's an extra guide I find kind of curious. This one is actually something that speedrunners go through. Give or take, they did alter the route from this, but basically, in a nutshell, this is saying that after your first chapter, you can go anywhere. I recommend that we get Cyrus and use his support ability, evasive maneuvers, in order to use his passive ability, evasive maneuvers, and try to get these items from these chests right here. You're also going to need Therion because there are some purple chests. But we'll go into more information about how chess works and all that. But what casual player would really need to know all this information for? To get you started right, go ahead and get these items. Yeah, because that's like way too much. That's just stuff that we absolutely need to know on a casual playthrough. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and explain a little bit about the story. But before that, I guess, this is every single map in the entire game. This gives you a basic summary of what each thing, in other words, the name of the place, and also who's going to be who's going to be there and what chapter they're going to be in. So basically, the way that this works is that every single location has a number, if my camera will focus. Every single location has a number, and then these are the numbers listed. So the number listed here tells you what place it is, and also the page number. So in case you're playing the game and you pause the menu, look at the world map, you see the name of the place, or rather the location, because let's face it, we can't read Japanese. We can actually just look up the name if you do know Japanese, or just look at where it is located on the item, on the area. Then you can go scroll down the list to what number it is, and then see the page number. So that's how that works. And now let's actually get to the story. As you can see here, it has a bit of information on how the story thing works, but we can't read this. So that's what I'm here for. So, information on the left. So information on how the story progresses on the left. So, come on, I'm sorry. This is my first time doing like something major with the book here. Anyway, so as you can see here, we have something that goes on the left. Actually, this is kind of the first time I've seen this spot here, but I guess it doesn't truly matter. I'm guessing this is all the enemies that you see from the start of the game. That's actually kind of interesting. I didn't know about that. Anyway, so anyway, this is all the information on the left in regards to progressing the story. As you can see here, it tells you the place where you start and also the page number of the map of the place. So it says here it's on page 50. I go to page 50, and that's not page 50. That's page 50. And there it is, Cobblestone. Cobblestone right there. Anyway, so in case you need a map for that, and then it tells you a little bit of like your directives that you need to do. Oh, come on, stupid thing. Okay, gives you directives on what you need to do for each part. So for part 1, you just need to go explore the town. Then you need to defeat challenge 2 people and win. Then you need to go and fight somebody, and then prepare to leave town. And then you go to the next part, which is also on page 50, and then you go to basically the cave area, which is just northeast of the town, and then you go into there, and then you can see that there's a boss, and then you go back to Cobblestone and watch a cutscene. I'm not sure what this stuff is all about, but basically this is kind of just I think this is just some information in regards of what people you need to kind of interact with in order to progress the story. Not all of them have these little pictures here. I think it's just there for like the big cities, but I'm not 100% on that. Frankly, I don't even think it matters too much. Now, something I forgot to mention is that sometimes you will see a little asterisk next to something. So in this case, in 2.1 and 2.2, if my camera can focus. Alright, looks like I'm just gonna have to do this. Okay, in 1.1 and 2.2, you can see some asterisks here. Here, like a little star and then a 1. It'll be located right here. There's a little star and 1. And then you can see 1.1 and 1.2, and then a little bit of information. Something I forgot to do was talk a little bit about needing a smart device and Google Translator in order to read some of the footnotes. But that's whatever. Anyway, so the same thing goes with basically every single character here. So you got Primrose and Alphen and Therion and all that jazz. All of them are going to have information on the left and boss info on the right. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some of that. Let's get a more appealing boss because I can't stand to look at red eyes. Okay, so... Okay. So, when dealing with battles, you will notice that there's the name, and then there is some information here. This is the weaknesses that the boss has, the resistance of the status elements that the boss has, and then what item that you can get from stealing, or well, actually, sometimes it's stealing, other times it's drops. Most of the time it would be drops. Like, for example, actually, if you fight this boss, you get a red apple. And then the drop, actually, I think it is a red apple, but I could be wrong about that. But either way, these are the items that you can get from the boss. And in addition, there's a lot of information that you can get from... there's a lot of information here. Like, for example, this guy's, I guess, abilities. So he can steal HP, steal SP. He steals your items at the beginning of the battle. And, yeah. And then there's some information about the strategies that you can do, and about his strategy and all that jazz. Some bosses will change weaknesses, and you can tell that from a little bit of an asterisk here. And wow, my focus is very bad. Okay. So, as you can see here, there's a weakness and a little bit of asterisk. It will be located right here in regards of how the cycle goes. So, in other words, it will start off... So, in other words, in this case, Red Eyes, he'll start off with having this set of weaknesses, and then it will change into 1, 2, 3, and yeah. So all the weaknesses have one-letter kanji, and same thing with the status elements. So something I do recommend is that on the sleeve, or actually, I just now thought of this, on your bookmarks, I would recommend that you write down their, basically just write down the weaknesses. Just do the kanji as best you can, what their translations are. And so this way, what you can do is that you can just, if you're going to a boss, you can just have the sleeve over on the left page, and then you can kind of just easily read the information on the right. So for an example here, the first boss is weak to spears. Wait, that does say spears, right? Yeah, it's weak to spears. I can't see this far, I'm sorry. Weak to spears, weak to daggers, weak to stabs of all things, and it's weak to ice, and it's weak to lightning. And then every single boss, I repeat, every single boss, and every single super boss, but not every single optional boss. Okay, so basically, every single story boss and every single super boss is going to resist sleep and confusion. These are resistance. You want to, so they will always resist sleep and confusion. Some will have more, like for example, Alpha's first boss will resist poison as well. But you can always guarantee that they can resist sleep and confusion. So, not everybody is going to be capable of, going to the go into the back of the page to read off every single... Well, I guess they can, but in case you're too lazy to go to the back of the page of the items and then write down every single weapon type, I'll give you a chance to pause the video and copy and paste each kanji to go off of. In addition, with like status effects were probably the hardest thing to figure out. Turns out if you get all of the herbs, like the herbs of healing, herbs of clamor, herbs of valor, all that stuff, it actually does give you, and then translate your game to Japanese, it actually does give you all the proper kanji that you need. But anyway, I will go ahead and pause the video and give you some time to, black out the video with each weakness and status element, and so that way you can just kind of copy and paste or print it off for you to basically get the idea. Okay. So anyway, all that talk was about bosses. Let's actually talk about some enemies here. So, with enemies, they will all be located, or they'll be all listed in this brownish section. In this brownish section, and the parentheses will give you what map. Oh my gosh. Okay. In parentheses, it'll give you what map you're kind of looking at here. In this case, I am looking at the map that's up here. Up here because the names match. That is, if I can properly show it. Yeah, anyway, the names match. And so basically it'll give me... come on, you stupid thing. It'll give you the name of the enemy, what chapters I have to complete in order to see the enemy. In this case, I could see it straight from the beginning, but this one I have to complete 16 chapters, and this one I have to complete 24 chapters. 24 and 24 chapters. Okay, so anyway. Their HP value, their weaknesses, the status resistance, and what items that you can get from either dropping or from stealing from them. They're both always going to be the same thing. Both the drops and the stealing are going to be the same thing. So each enemy has a percentage. It doesn't give you any information about experience or job points, which I find a little bit disappointing. But honestly, there's already a lot of information as it is in order to get this. In order to, basically. So... NPCs also follow the same train here. So, hold on if I need to go to NPCs. Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. So, all the NPC information, when you challenge or provoke them, will be on the first page. And it's basically the same thing. You get to see their HP, their, basically, their weaknesses. Now, it doesn't tell you anything about what status resistance they have. They might all have none. And what items they drop. You cannot steal from an NPC. For some reason, unless you're doing a path action. But if you're challenging or provoking them, they do not give you... or you do not have the option to steal, which I find quite annoying, actually. But, anyway... oh yeah, that's information about lowering and or guiding and what their abilities are, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So, anyway, that actually pretty much does it for all the enemy information. I do recommend that you do make a little bit of footnotes. Like, for example, I have all of the large soul stones. Like, for example, here, I have all of the large soulstone drops that they have. And I use an orange tape to represent that. So, So like here we have ice and electric elementals, and they drop large soul stones. Soul stones become very important in the final boss. Anyway, I gotta cut my camera, and then we'll be talking about maps next. Almost forgot one more thing. In the maps, or before you get into the Highlands, before that, it actually gives you information in regards of Kates and, of course, the secret bosses. Kates appear randomly, and they all depend on what chapter you're on. They all drop refreshing gems, which is the most powerful item in the game, and they all should have the same weaknesses, which is basically any melee weapon except for stabs, I'm guessing. Except for daggers and staves. No, they are weak to staves, except for daggers. No, they are weak to daggers. They're not weak to lances, though. Okay, so swords, daggers, axes, and staves. So they're not weak to... So yeah, they're not weak to lances or staffs. And, oh no, sorry. Lances and bows. And then... And they're also not weak to... Oh no, and they're also immune to sleep and confusion. Now, it is technically possible to get these Kates asleep, and that is if you summon them through Bewildering Grace. And typically they will... so basically, if you were to have an enemy asleep before summoning a Kate, they will be asleep. Or maybe they might look like they're asleep, but regardless, they will be asleep. So... these Kates will all drop refreshing gems, as I mentioned. That's the only case where they actually show off their experience, job points, and the amount of gold that they drop. They all, and like I said before, they all drop refreshing gem. You can also steal these, and you are capable of capturing these. Oh, Richard actually has a video where he captures a whole bunch of fat Kates. These are extremely hard to capture because they always run away. Like they often run away, basically. So, and in addition, they're also just really hard to find in general. And also, just before I forget, optional bosses are on page 42. Just before they start doing the party chat list. And you may notice that there are these black numbers right here. These black numbers are basically where the says these are all side quests, technically. Since these are all side quests, these numbers represent what side quests that these guys deal with are in, basically. I say basically so much. So pretty much. And that's it for come on, words. And that's pretty much it for for enemy information. Okay, so maps start at page 50. It is actually sorted by... Actually, this is the reason for all these tabs here. This is actually sorted by region. So it starts off with the Highlands, then it goes to the Sunlands, then it goes to the Riverlands, then it goes to the Clifflands, then the Woodlands, then the Coastlands, and oh, I skipped the Flatlands and the Frostlands. Anyway, so after Woodlands, then it goes to the Frostlands, then it goes to the Flatlands, then it goes to the Coastlands. So the way that the way that each area works is that it'll do a full, or for each route, it'll do a full zoom out of what of the entire area. It's not divided in any way. This is the literal full map of everything. I brought up props that way none of that sheen can get on the pages. Anyway, this is the literal full map. Each map has the name listed on the top left, and every single point where they need to go to another page, it'll tell you exactly what page it is and also what location it is. So that way you can just go match the name and see the page, and you can see that the next part actually starts up here. The next map actually starts right here, and then you can kind of do your thing until you need to go to the next map. If the next map is on the same page, then it starts down there, or then you can follow the red line to see where it goes. So, in a nutshell, everything you need to know is all listed. So, that even includes people, as well as people. Enemies are typically located on the bottom of the map. If they're not on the bottom, then they would be, well, they will be underneath. And they're also all listed, no matter, well, yeah, basically. If all the enemies are not listed on the bottom, then they will be listed underneath where the map is. So, yeah, and then you may see like a whole bunch of things like people here. All the event people that will have like some kind of side quest or something will have the color orange, and will have orange. These are events. These are people that are either unlocked by events or made specifically for an event, etc., etc., etc. Now, this is kind of a bad page to kind of look into that more, but we'll get into more detail of that later. It locates the save point as well as these chests. Blue means that they're chest. White with blue letters means that it is a hidden item, and anything purple, like you see here, that is a purple chest that Therion can only unlock. Okay, so something I forgot to mention earlier is that sometimes you may encounter an item that has a letter and it's in parentheses. These means that this is an item that is trapped behind an NPC. So, these little white lines here are hidden paths. So basically, they're not very visible when you when you're in the dungeon and you're just looking at it. But basically, all hidden paths are just mapped out for you, which is great. So red just means that they're typical NPCs. They don't really have anything too special about them. They may give a hidden item, like for example G23. They won't give you that information. Oh no, sorry. Just looking at there doesn't give you the information, but down here, as you can see here, if my camera will focus. This is one of the worst cameras in existence. Okay. As you can see here, this actually just tells you that that G23 gives you a hidden item and what the item is. All the items are actually listed down here, including purple chest and all that. And it just pretty much, it gives you all the information that you need. Anyway, now let's go up here where you can see that there is a whole mashup of different things up here. This is every single person in the entire area of the game. Of the map. The letters and numbers are important when you're looking at NPC data, which is page 120, or which starts at page 130 rather. Each NPC is 2 pages long, and they're listed from both the left and the right side. So if you need to look for any kind of information regarding the NPC that that is in each location, this will actually, okay, this is actually why I recommend you have bookmarks here. Any information regarding any NPC in any point in time, this book, or you could just look at the letter, look at the number. You know it's at the Riverlands, so you go to the NPC data, you go to the Riverland NPCs, and then you can just really just calculate it through the numbers, or through the numbers and letters, and you get all the information that you want. So I will be going a little bit more in depth into the NPC data a little bit later, but at the moment I lost my place. Okay, a little bit later, but anyway, it also tells you, you know, what places you can't access, what places you can't access until you do certain objectives, and pretty much it also tells you where the boss, also tells you like what boss you're gonna face and what page number it is. In this case, it's on page 23. So then you just bookmark the page, then you go to page 23. And look up the boss, which is up here. Here. And then once you're done, if you need to go there again, you could just bookmark that again, follow the other bookmark, and bada bing, bada boom. And this goes with pretty much every single thing. However, if you're in a safe location, typically towns are divided in 2 or 3 different spots, and it will always go from top to bottom, left to right. So in other words, like here we have Gold Shore. No, this is Saints Bridge, and then we have the cathedral, the upper part of Saint Bridge, and then the lower part of Saint Bridge. That's how they're just kind of arranged. All the information in regards of items are over here. So we have, I have no proper way of recording this. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so yeah, you have all the items that you can get, all the hidden items that you can get, and what person that you have to inquire, scrutinize, all the provisions, and then all of the weapons and armor. And those listed in red can only be obtained if you're to talk to the person that is listed above, or sorry, inquire or scrutinize the person that is listed. I'm gonna have to do this upside down. Anyway, the person that you have to inquire or scrutinize is listed above, and then you can get access to the red items. It does not tell you any information in regards of inn cost, or for that matter, where the locations of the inn or the weapons and ale shop are. I guess they just kind of want you to just look at the map and determine it from the signs that they have on there, but they're so small that you can kind of just not even barely see them. That is a little bit that is a bit annoying, but you know, since you're in a safe location, you can pretty much just take the time that you want in order to go to those places. So I don't think it's a huge deal breaker, but essentially essentially, you know, just follow with any kind of thing. You can just follow the red arrows, determine what items is worth getting and not getting, like these stuff right here. Like a lot of this stuff is actually not really worth it, if I remember correctly. And yeah, overall, map. You can't really argue with having a map, for goodness sake. Okay. So, with all that being said, that's pretty much everything you need to know in regards of how the map works, and then, of course, enemies. And now we're going to be talking a little bit about the NPCs here before we get to the jobs, which is the pages I'm flipping through. So with any kind of NPCs, as I mentioned in the maps, they are labeled by a number and a letter. And if you need help here, you can see what place they are in, which is in they're still organized by region, but they are also organized by what area they're in. So, like for example, Cobblestone, page 50 to 51, and then you get all the list of people in Cobblestone. Anything in orange is a quest, and as you can see from the top here, you can see what you can see where the... Actually, I'm not sure what the number is. I'm pretty sure that that number is what chapter they can appear in. So basically, in the amount of chapters you clear will also depend on the amount of chapter, or on what person will appear in the game. So for an example here, you can see person 1 in chapter 1. Person 1 is always going to be Kit, if I recall. I could be wrong about that, but actually no, it's not Kit because that's not a quest person. But either way though, basically every single NPC is listed and they're lettered and numbered accordingly. You just need to go to the page number to where they're at, and etc, etc, etc. So then we have information for when you're challenging or provoking them, and of course they have their HP, their weaknesses. It doesn't list that as ailments, but I'm assuming that's because they don't resist any of them, since they're simple townspeople and not like super bosses or whatever. So this is all the items that, this is all the, so that's all the weaknesses, and then that's the items that they can drop. You cannot steal from an NPC unless it's via path action. Then, oh wait, no, unless that's over there. Yeah, and then what level you can do in order to challenge them. Now this doesn't change for provoking them. Provoking them will always end up being kind of the... Oh, wait a minute. This is their strength if... Yeah, this is actually their strength. That's my bad. Anyway, so provoking them, basically, you don't have to have a level requirement in order to provoke, but challenging does. So NPC 1, A1 requires you to be level 1, A2 requires you to be level 7, A3, 3, etc, etc, etc. So you may also notice that on the side here, there is actually this black border with a white number. This is for side quests, which I will explain later. Side quest. So anyway, so anything in orange actually has a side quest. I actually kind of forgot to mention that earlier. So yeah, you can actually just go to the side quest page, which if I remember correctly was probably page 48, I want to say. No, it was... It's page 34. It starts at page 34. So, yeah, every single side quest in the Highlands, Sunlands, etc. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. And then we got some information in regards of luring and guiding. So here we see what they can do. This is either summoning or their strength. How many times you can summon a person, or their strength is most likely summoning, and then the percentage of alluring chance. So here you have 100%. A1 you have 100%. A2 has a 35%, etc., etc. And then of course the level that is required in order to guide them. Whew. So the next page. My back. So the next page is about inquiring and scrutinizing. So as you can simply see here, this is just a little bit of information what they can give you, what level you need to do in order to... Wait, that's level, right? Yeah, what level you need to do in order to inquire, 50% chance of them scrutinizing. I just freaking charged this thing. How's it out of battery? And the different items that you can steal / purchase. You need to be level 15 in order to steal / purchase. Most likely purchase, but it has like a low % chance of stealing. They don't give out percentages in regards of what you can steal, but basically, so I guess I gotta charge my my camera again, and we'll go back to more information soon. So I said I was gonna have some additional information, but there really isn't too much to add in all truth. The only information I can really think of to say is that the number and letter are on both sides of the page. So if you need to look for, a certain item, you don't necessarily need to, worry about tracing your finger all the way down to the other page. You can just simply look at the right and just see that what NPC you need to talk to. Now, as I mentioned before, it gives you the page number of where each of the map of where each person is. So in this case they're in Cobblestone, which is in page 50. So I just need to go to page 50, Cobblestone, and look for A1, which is located right here. Now, all people information is actually located from top to bottom, left to right, with maybe a handful of exceptions. Like, for example, A2 is located higher than A1, and A3 is, well, I guess it is still higher, but either way. So in a nutshell, A4 is all brick? Huh, interesting. Anyway. Now, something I mentioned in the maps, well, kind of added in as an anecdote, was that certain items are kind of protected by an NPC, and so you need to provoke or challenge an NPC in order to get the item. This also goes with other NPCs as well. A good example is actually in the Sunlands, in Wellspring. There's actually a pretty decent chunk of people here, and they're also in parentheses. E4 to E7 is being guarded by E8. Now, that looks a bit off, actually. That's kind of weird, but yes, yes, you have to fight E7 to E8 in order to... Wait, no. Yeah, I mean, I could have sworn there was a person guarding the way over there. Okay, so that means that anything in parentheses is actually inside a building. So, Okay, so I made a short discovery real fast. So you have to go inside the building in order to speak to them, and it's nothing. It's not like a majorly big thing, but it's still important to note whenever you're kind of just navigating through these maps here. So let's go ahead and go into side quests. So as I mentioned earlier before, anything with anything that's colored in orange is a side quest. So, like for instance, or basically, yeah, they have a quest or some kind of side quest. In this case, it's E28, which I'll go ahead and say is basically the captain of the. It's basically the guard captain of Wellspring. All of the let's see here. All the side quests start on page 34. Now, here's the problem though. We can't really tell what side quest goes to which. Actually, no, we can tell which side quest goes to which person. So when you're looking up side quests, you may have noticed that there is also. You may have noticed that every single side quest actually has a person involved, and even more people on the side here. This is actually how you finish the side. This is actually how you do the side quest. This basically says that you must do something with this person, you must steal or purchase something from this guy, and then you gotta go back to C5 to tell him that, hey, you got the item, or something along the lines of that. And that's essentially it for the vast majority of side quests. There are like some elaborate ones, like this one up here, number 8, which has like 4 different things you must do. There are some that have stars on them. The stars mean that they are... What does the star mean? Actually, I don't know what the stars mean. See here, the stars. This doesn't even give me information about the star. Maybe it's for quests that can only be done after you beat the game. I could be wrong about that, but seems like a likely scenario. Actually, a good one would actually be number 74. Yep. Yeah, they're quests that can be done after or in post game. So, with that being said, I haven't listed any. Okay, no, I don't need to explain that actually. So basically, each side quest has a number, and then a person that you need to talk to, the quest name, the guide to each quest, and the reward. This is also explained in, or I guess not really explained in NPC data, but if you go to NPC data, or I guess people's data as it's called over there, any quest will be actually, any side quest will actually be numbered as a black box with a white number on there. So if you need so basically you can just kind of easily navigate between the two by just looking at for the white black rectangle and the white letter, and yeah. So let's see what else information that I need to give you guys here. That's actually pretty much it for the most part. Some parts are kind of divided into multiple parts. Like for example, number 3 has to deal with you have to do this first in order to do the second part here. And some will even require you to face a boss. The bosses, I don't think they're labeled here. Let me check real fast. Oops. No, it doesn't list any of the bosses, but yeah, it doesn't list any of the bosses, but that's alright because actually no, it doesn't give you any information in regards to what page you need to be on. That's a little irritating. But regardless, you know, there's still a list over here. And for those super completionists, there's also a checklist here of all of the what's called travel banter. You got Ulbrich's. So basically, for an example, Ulbrich's here. If you're in chapter. They all start in chapter 2. They need to be in chapter 2. You need to have Ulbrich and Tressa at this. Oh no. And then that's the title of the banter. If you didn't notice, all travel banter has titles. I'm assuming that's what you have to. What? Okay, I'm not 100% on what this is, but this is basically the spot in the storyline where you need to go, or where you need to be. Hence what these things are. And then, basically just like a little nice list, like a little bullet list of different people that you're kind of need to in order to unlock this travel banter. In addition, you may notice that there's a barkeep here. Now, the barkeep doesn't really do, you can't really have any travel banter with the barkeep directly. But after you beat the game, you are able to go into a bar, and then with certain different characters, you are able to have certain travel banter. And they're all in this nice little bullet list, all their names here, and this is just information in regards of how to unlock it. So, yeah, if you're a super completionist and you want to do all the travel banter, check off all the travel banter, you must know every single line of dialogue in the game. Well, here you go. Okay, so next thing I'm going to go over is some more data. I'm going to go over item lists. This is actually something I completely forgot about. So, item lists start on page, actually right here. So the item list starts on page 161. What you're seeing right now is 160. This is just information in regards of how each item list works. And as you can see here, there's a neat little picture of what each item is. So for example, this starts off with swords, and it goes to lances. Yeah. Then it goes to lances, and then it goes to daggers, axes, bows, and staves. Basic stuff like that. What is listed here for each item, if my camera will focus, here for each item is the item name, the power of each, the price of each item, the selling price of each item, the power of each item, the attack of each item, the elemental attack of each item, the bonus that you get from the item, what was this one? I guess this is other enhancements that you get from the item. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. It's basically like what you would see in the item description. Like, for example, like, well, actually, I don't know, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure this is like the enhancements of the item. So you get like a bonus, like a third increase, and then like some kind of bonus, some kind of enhancement what that item has. And then where you can obtain said item. So I'm not sure where you obtain the first. Oh yeah, you can buy these items actually. So basically, this will give you this will tell you where you can get the item, and then if it's from a shop or something. Others, you may have to get it from a person, which in this case it's V10, and then you could steal it, and you only steal it. And then if you look at the one below, you can steal or purchase it from S7. So S7, and then from the one below that, it is a hidden item, and you can get it. Actually, yeah, that is a hidden item. Why is it? Doesn't it tell me what person gives it to me? Well, anyway, you can get it from Cobblestone if you're to inquire or my words fail me. Inquire or scrutinize a person in Cobblestone. And some will actually have two parentheses, like this bottom one right here. Like this bottom one right here, where you can see it's in, come on. Let's see here, yeah, that looks like Gold Shore. Gold Shore, and then you get a shop, and you have to inquire or scrutinize somebody in order to get it. Now, as for like the FCs and red square with kanji on there, I'm not 100% on what that means, but I don't really think it's too important. So basically, and all of that stuff is throughout all the weapons. And then when you get to armor, you just need to replace attack and elemental attack with defense and elemental defense. Ah, that's interesting. So this is, oh, I see. That's just like your like leather hide shield, I think it was. Anyway, so yeah, it replaces the defense and attack and elemental attack to defense and elemental defense, and it goes through that with both the shields, helms, and armor. And then we get accessories, which is actually a little bit more difficult to explain. As you can see here, the first accessory that is listed on here, I don't know what that says, but basically it does have a selling price and a description, but the book doesn't really know where to get it. So that doesn't help matters at all. Anyway, so essentially, yeah, this doesn't really have the elemental attack and defense and whatnot. It just replaces everything with the description, where you can get it, including the, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, the black rectangle with the white square, or with the white numbers, is a side quest. So yeah, you can get it from side quest, and of course the location of said side quest, and all that jazz. And then we get to the provisions, or just in Japan it says item list. Wait, no, that says item. So anyway, the provisions, Japan kind of had it easy with some of the stuff here. Like a healing grape is just literally an HP grape, and it gives you all the information in regards of where the whereabouts of where you can buy it. Basically, you can pretty much buy it anywhere in a nutshell. So we got healing grapes and all that jazz, and then I made a little bit of notes in regards of where the large olives of life are, and where all the medium pomegranates are, because large pomegranates can only be dropped by NPCs. I don't remember which ones. And basically this is the exact order that you would see it in game. So it starts with healing grapes and it goes on and on and on. Elementals and remnant Mark IIs are able to drop large soul stones. I don't have the... Oh wait, no, I do have Olives of Life. Never mind. Anyway, then it goes to... I'm not sure what that was. I think that's... Then it goes to these, which I don't really know what these crap. Well, anyway, then we got the herbs, the medicinal herbs, the stuff you can buy and whatever and find, and then of course the quest items, which is quite honestly very, very great, because I've been looking for... Actually, no. In my opinion, this really isn't an important item, or really an important area to be researching, since you can get all of these by just doing side quests, I believe. Or really when you're getting side quests. And really just completing the main game. And then we got the information, which pretty much the same thing. When you go through side quests and whatnot, the different people that you can get it in, and yeah, that's about it. All right, now I'm done explaining everything. So, I think at this point I'm editing it, so I'm explaining job listings and character information. So, here we have all the character information in page 114. Now, this is actually very interesting here. I'm going to do a manual zoom in. So, as you can see here, we have Honnet. Her story starts at page 86. Her last story starts at page 122. Or at least I think that is. Then we got we got her path action. Then we got and a description of the path action. And I want to say that's her special ability. So I could be wrong about that. That's really confusing. But basically, this is just information about each character. Their stats when equipped with nothing, except for maybe a makeshift bow and a makeshift axe. Their base stat, or I guess you can kind of argue that these are their base stats, and this is going to be exact every single time, unless you enhance their stuff using basically the nuts, the slippery net, the I think it's just called the healing nut, the soul nut, just things like that. Inspiriting Net, that's what it was. And, yeah. Now, the thing is that this is just kind of like a summary of every single character. It's not necessarily like a definitive answer in regards of everything else. Next thing we have is job descriptions. So we have the warrior, the dancer, and all that jazz. What's up here on the top is the default character and the recommended character that they have. And they also have the sprites for every single character using that class. Now, this is actually something that I found rather interesting. Seeing all these sprites side by side actually shows that every single sprite is actually using the same color palette. So in other words, the game is not 16-bit, just to tell you. It's still 64-bit. They're using 32 colors for every single sprite here, and they all share from the same color palette. And I just find that pretty amazing. So anyway, tangent aside, this gives out pretty much every single information that you need to know about the warrior class. It's going to be it's going to be strong. It's going to be, yeah, they're going to be strong. They enhance a bit of attack and defense and all that stuff. And then it gives you a little bit of information in regards of why a character is recommended. It's just some recommended actually, I did not study this at all, didn't I? Well, anyway, this is really sloppy. Up here, it does give you information in regards of what a warrior class is to be expected. You know, it has very high stats, but it's not that great in regards to magic and whatnot. Enhances HP and defense, and a little bit of elemental defense. I know, HP, attack, and then defense. And then it can use the sword and the spear. Default is Ulbrich, and then recommended is Honnet. Honnet, a little bit more information, why Honnet's the best character, and a recommended list of gosh dang it, brain work with me. Recommended list of support skills. And then basically what each ability that the warrior class can do, and some technical information that I don't really care too much to read on about. And then what each support skill is, what it does, and what it unlocks. And then a little bit more information down here, which I haven't even bothered to read. And that goes with pretty much every single class until you get to actually Apothecary. The Apothecary has a little bit of a special thing where obviously, actually no. That's just purely Alphin's thing where you can concoct certain things, and it does actually list the page, but I don't actually see it, but whatever, we'll get to those later. Anyway, and also in addition, it goes with, in addition, the other difference thing is also the secret jobs, which is Rune Lord, Starseer, Sorcerer, and War Master. Why did Tressa the War Master? Hannah's the best War Master. Anyway, it also does give you some recommended things. I don't know why Honnet would be the recommended Rune Lord. Clearly Tressa's the absolute best Rune Lord, period. Ulbrich is also pretty solid comes to being a Rune Lord because, you know, you can enhance those that attack and defense. At the same time, you can also do that with a Dancer, so, you know, I guess each of their own. But anyway, Rune Lord is a very special class. That's actually all I really got. I thought I was going to go on a tangent for a while, but no. Starseer is pretty OP as well, but instead of enchanting the entire team to be absolute savage killers, Starseer is a more passive one where you can pretty much make anyone invincible and just flat out overpower everybody. So that's it. Okay, I thought I was gonna go off of a little bit more information on there, but I guess not. So as I mentioned before, there are some characters with some special abilities. Ulrich obviously can enhance his defense by boosting. Primrose actually doesn't have anything too special. Oh no. Primrose and Ophelia can summon. Tressa can find money on the ground. Cyrus can study his foe. The ones I'm gonna, and of course, Therian has some insane speed and evasion. But what I'm going to be going over is a little bit about, it's a little bit of information regarding concoctions, monsters, and, capturing monsters, and bewildering grace. So let's first start off with the concoctions. What happened to the tab? Did it just break off? Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh wait, no, it's right here. So all of the concoctions are actually listed. Wait, are these it? Oh, yeah, it is it. Okay, my bad. I thought this was just some mumbo jumbo for a second. Anyway, one moment. Okay, so this is actually Alfin's different things that he can do. There are, of course, seeds and dust. I'm not going to go over each one, but basically, this gives you a little bit of information and insight about what each concoction can do, including the the Curious Bloom. And the Curious Bloom for, well, actually, I'm not sure how exactly to read this, but just rest assured that this is information. Because the most important information that you can get here is really what the Purify Seed and the Purifying Dust, as well as the Purifying Seed and Purifying Dust can do, which is basically what this information is. Actually, no, just that information. Let's see the other information about the Purifying Dust. Huh, interesting. Let's if... Yeah, and then there's, of course, Ruinous Seed, Ruinous Dust, and the Curious Bloom. This is just the concoction information, and to be honest, it's really easy to figure out if you play the game. I mean, you can always just save your game and then just experiment with Alfin, and then no, save your game, write, or not, you don't even need to write, just use the item and then take a picture of the description and be on your way. So anyway, Curious Bloom, or not Curious Bloom, Bewildering Grace information is located right here on page 177. And this gives you all the information in regards of the percentages of what each effect can happen. I haven't listed them all yet. However, there is a footnote in regards of each. However, there is a footnote in regards of each. What was it called? Experience and JP boost, and that is that they don't stack. But essentially, all of them. So basically, with no charge for ×2, it's 5, 4, 4, 4. With no charge, it's 5, and the rest is 4. In order to get a 5 boost, you gotta boost at least twice. So you gotta put in 3, and it's still a 2% chance of it happening. And then, of course, the big one being the 100% job and experience boost. You have to have it at max boost, and it's a 0.01%. And that is the absolute hardest one to get. I actually did successfully get it. I didn't take a screenshot of it saying 100 experience points, but I did get the aftermath of it. But if you're level grinding, what I recommend is that you have a Star Seer. Is that you train your dancer into a Star Seer until you have boost start, and then you can give 1 BP to the dancer, and then just fully use a fully charged Bewildering Grace. Of course, you could also just BP start, and you could try for the 2% chance of getting the ×2 or of the ×5 JP and experience boost. That's always an option too. Anyway, I'm not sure about the rest of this information here. This is all way too technical for me. I don't even want to deal with it. But what I will deal with is... Oh wait, no, this is the monster category, isn't it? No. Okay, so now we got the capture monster information. And obviously, if you have a dire wolf, you don't really need anything else. But for those who do need anything else besides the dire wolf, what this does is it gives you information in regards of each and every enemy that you can capture. Like for an example here, we have this thing. It attacks ×3 with a sword. With a sword, it is whatever this monster's name. No. That is the description of what it does. Of the attack. Yeah, that is the description of the attack. And then, so basically when you see it in battle, then we have what the monster is, and then how many times you can use it, and then, the strength of the monster, then how many times you can use it, and then I'm assuming this is where you can get the location of the monster. And it is all sorted. It is all sorted by what attack they do. So it starts off with sword, and it should go to lance, then dagger. Basically, the list that they have for the weaknesses in order. So yeah, it goes to sword, then it goes to lance. Yeah. Then it goes to lance, then it goes to dagger. Then it goes to staff, then bow. Then of course the elements. Oh no, bow, then staff, then the elements. I feel like I'm missing something, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, then the elements, etc., etc., etc. And yeah. So, all that's left now is to explain about the final boss. Now, there's a problem with this, actually. I am still struggling with the final boss. It's been over a month, and I still haven't beaten the final boss. Okay. So, the final boss, it starts with the Omniscient Eye, and then it goes to Galdra the Fallen. I'm pretty sure that's its name. Yeah, Galdra the Fallen. So I made a whole bunch of notes in regards of its strategy, the eye strategy, and also some strategies to counter the strategies. So I say to grind for JP, and you're really going to need some of this stuff here. Some of those support skills. And something that irritates me is that it doesn't really give you any information in regards of, you know, some preparations for some preparations in order to beat this thing. And it does give you a little bit of some recommendations, even though the next page completely contradicts what it's trying to say. So basically, phase 1, you have, of course, your Raging Soul. Omniscient Eye is invincible. Raging Soul, you have to defeat Raging Soul in order to unlock it. Then it goes to the next one, which is which it breaks in Screaming Soul or Wailing Soul, and then you have to defeat that to unlock Omniscient Eye. Then once you defeat those guys, Omniscient Eye is vulnerable until it reaches down to 50% or 85% of HP, which then it will switch to, it will actually just have Raging Soul, Screaming Soul, and Wailing Soul out and about with Cycling Weakness, which you can easily sync up, and then sync up and use Soul Stones and whatnot. And then phase 3, which is the big one, when it's down to 50% HP, it will actually summon all 3 souls, but it's completely vulnerable. And then you just have to destroy the souls as fast as you can, and then destroy the Omniscient Eye. But what it doesn't list here is a desperation attempt in the Omniscient Eye, where basically it absorbs the 3 souls, and then it's able to do 3 attacks at once. Leg hold trap is a must, as far as I'm aware. Now, as for Galdra the Fallen, I haven't reached that point yet. I know, I suck at this game. But, that's the important thing of why I even bother taking notes here. So, anyway, something it does say is that Alfin as a sorcerer is actually pretty decent with dealing with the souls. I don't see it, but sure. And then it recommends Ulbrich as a War Master here, but for the second one. But if we go to the next page, as you can see here, it has a recommended team list, which is first is Ulbrich, Alfin, Honnet, and Cyrus, and then it goes to Primrose, Aetherion, Ophelia, and Tressa. However, I just figured out, oh hey, instead of looking at the book, what does the wiki have to say about this? The game's been out for a while, I'm pretty sure wiki might have something. And sure enough, the wiki says Honnet, Alfin, Aetherion, Cyrus, just like, are very close to the original list, but Honnet's a War Master, Alfin's a Cleric, Aetherion's a Dancer, and Cyrus is a Merchant. What this book, or no, what the wiki says is that, hey, why don't you pay your way to victory? As a merchant, you can do something called hire help. Well, ain't that a fantastic idea? I did not think about that one bit. And that's a very fantastic idea. So basically, the book gives you a recommended team if you have absolutely no preparation whatsoever. And according to the wiki, I swear, it says that the recommended level is 55 or above. I'm level 80 and I have problems beating this freaking boss. So, in other words, either I'm a chump or this guide is, or basically what this is trying to say is that the person that made this guide has the absolute patience of, just has so much patience, more than what the average American can even do. Of course, it's Japan, they always have patience, but come on! Level 55. But that's the internet, though. The internet is... Of course the internet is going to surpass everybody else, but gosh, dang. Dang. So anyway, this team is recommended if you have no preparation. So you have no soul stones, no olives. Oh wait, no, sorry, not olives. No pomegranates. Actually, yeah, no olives, no pomegranates, nothing. You just have like one red apple and you decide to save a red apple in your jam. But you only have like 2 or 3 of them and whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous. I still can't fathom doing or using this team at level 55, or really just going in there at level 55. I'm sorry that I just grew into a tangent, but whatever the case is, I'm still beating through the boss, and this is just the book's recommended team. I'm pretty sure some other people might have some better recommended teams out there. I don't know. But whatever the case is, saving grace will be your saving grace, and... yeah, saving grace will be your saving grace. Boost start's always important, and surpass power, especially for Honnet and Ulbrich. Ulbrich is... oh no. Honnet, Ulbrich, and Ophelia. Ophelia with Runelord... with runes is just so freaking OP. Now imagine Cyrus with runes. You probably do like 17,000 damage. I know that he can do 99,999 damage according to... wow, what was his name? Oh, Richard. That's his name. According to Oh Richard, everybody can do 99,999, but where I'm standing, I can do only the maximum of 24,000. That was the most damage I've ever done. Anyway, so that pretty much concludes everything that I would like to go over. Of course, there's some extra stuff here. Just an art gallery and a miniature game, I think it is. Or either that or it was the original script of what it says, but I honestly don't really care too much to translate this. I'm like, here we have Alphen. And some stats from version 1.0 of the game, or either that or that was something completely different, I don't know. And then we have an entire scenario here, and then same thing with Ulrich and Therian, and then some other information I really don't know much about. And then we get this really cool pic, which I'm assuming is actually a picture during the beta, because some of the characters look a little bit different here. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and lift the book up. Oops. Come on. Like, some of the characters look a little bit different here, as you can kind of see. Especially Cyrus. Cyrus kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And then, of course, we have the map of Austria, and of course that neat little, poster. So that's essentially everything in the book. This kind of came out worse than I expected, but I don't really feel like doing this again. Because I really want to beat the freaking game already. Because I really just want to beat the game already, and I've been playing it way too long, more than, well, actually less than Richard, but more than what I would rather like to keep playing on this game. I just want to start the game fresh from the very beginning and not focus on one area of the game for, I think I've been, like I said, for over a month. So, and then complete the translation of this stupid thing. I say it's stupid, but this is really one of the best purchases I ever made in a long time. Anyway, I think there was one more thing that I did forget to mention, but I'll figure that out later. I might even just need to write it down in the comments, but anyway, that's it. I'll be seeing ya. I'm tired right now. And yeah.